and awake for me to the judgment that thou hast commanded. So shall the congregation of the people compass thee about. For their sakes therefore return thou on high. The Lord shall judge the people. Judge me, O Lord,
Greetings,
according to
greetings,
my
greetings to the
righteousness,
Conscious
and according to
Collective.
mine integrity that
Let's
is in
stop
me.
this for a second. Greetings, greetings, greetings to the Conscious Collective. Let me get you guys in view. Divine rising, divine rising. Everything works in alignment. Thank you guys for joining me. That recording that you were listening to is part of what we're going to be talking about. If you saw the title, How to Unlock the Mystical Power of the Book of Psalms, is something that we're going to be talking about for a particular reason. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. I will be posting. So what do we got here? What do we have here? We have the white. Okay. FX Weathers. What's it? Synergy or energy? Wealth energy. Wealth synergy. Wealth synergy. FS Wealth synergy is in alignment. Who else? Who else? I think that's the only one. Welcome. Well, like I said, don't stress. Don't be upset. It's about working on your intuition, building your gift, and then empowering your divine gift. What we're going to be talking about, we're going to do our psychic practice in a minute. Which one are we going to do? Let's do this one. Move that. Let's get back to this. Get back to the state at hand. All right, there we go. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. Everyone's here that should be here, I guess. All right. So we're going to be talking about how to unlock the mystical power of the Book of Psalms. And for a particular reason, we need to move into this discussion. Now, thank you guys for joining me with this discussion. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. We're going to do our psychic practice, and I'm going to have a short conversation before we begin. Thank you guys for your patience. I think it's going to be well worth it for what I have to share with you guys, share with the Conscious Collective. Now, let's set it up first. For those that are new here or just now joining or may come into this video later, we are doing Zitner cards. We see the 5 different colors and shapes. I will pull a card and you guys can keep track on what cards that I pull. Okay. Again, tomorrow we will have a little psychic Kufi prediction or precognition, just to encourage you to trust in your intuition, to trust in yourself, to trust in your divine guidance. That's my whole goal here, to get you to believe in the power of you. Where the rest of the world is trying to take away your belief in yourself and apply it to other people outside of you, even in their religious teaching, they tell you that you're not God. God resides outside of you. You're not part of that system, which sounds kind of ludicrous to me, but a lot of people buy into that. But I'm going to give you something today. I'm going to show you something today. And I think we're going to talk about it for a while. In the morning, I generally do my research, so it's fresh. I have my idea, my outlines, my downloads, and then I start to research it and start to put it together for my talk, right? And I do it in the mornings, so it's fresh. So I normally get up. Lately, I've been getting up because of the time, the illusion of the time changing. I've been getting up at like 6:15. I normally get up like at 4:30, 5 o'clock. And that gives me plenty of time to get myself settled and to start doing some work. But I've been off a little bit, so I've been getting up later. And so when I do my work and my study, I normally go down rabbit holes. You cannot share anything with me without me going down a rabbit hole somewhere. Okay. And I get in there deep. I get in there deep. And I get lost in the sauce sometimes. And then the time gets away from me. And so as we started to move towards me wanting to share the secrets of the book of Psalms with the collective, yesterday I did a video on forgiving your enemies. Which one was the video on? Or your enemies forgiving you, to stop false accusation. And that's what you was listening to. And that's on my long form side of YouTube. And I'm going to be posting more of the Psalms on that, because Psalms are more than just poetry. They're actually spells. And I want to share them with the collective so you guys can have that in your tool belt, because you're not going to be able to defeat this system solely in the physical plane. You're going to have to go on high to your higher self. That's where we get our awareness at. That's where we get our connection to all. And we're going to have to understand how these tools that we use spiritually can aid us in our journey here. And so I wanted to share that with you. I'm going to be sharing these with you on the long form. This is called the live part of YouTube. There's short videos, and then there's the long form. I don't know if they're separate, but a lot of times people don't know that it's all one channel. And so I said, I'm going to bring it over here. If I'm running behind schedule, I'll play the video as the opening so you guys can still tap into that if you haven't tapped into it on the long form. Make sense? So bear with me, because we're entering a very interesting time, and those that know. Those that are prepared are going to be prepared. Those that can tap into their spiritual selves are going to be okay. We talk a lot about 5D reality and moving into 5D consciousness, right? But you still have to, that's the work. That's the work you need to do. All right. That's the work that you need to do. And I can do this at the same time. I can multitask. That's the work that you need to do to get into 5D reality. But that doesn't negate you from having access to a lot of power, a lot of spiritual power. And let's make a distinction between magic and spiritual power. Sometimes they get used interchangeable, because both are mysterious to most individuals. They're something that scientists starting to refer to as quantum mechanics. Gaians, or people who practice Wicca, who practice Earth original chaos magic, call it magic. Science calls it quantum mechanics. People who practice it in this original form call it magic, right? We tend to call it spiritual, divine gifts, discernment. Okay. So don't worry about the name of it. The tool can still be used, right? You may have a long hammer, short hammer, peen hammer, whatever they call it, mallet. It can still do the job. And that's what you have to understand. So if you are the Gaian makeup and Gaian, and your soul calling is towards magic, all right? If you are a spiritual scientist and your calling is towards understanding quantum mechanics, okay? Or if you're spiritual like I am, it is a divine gift. Everything comes from source in my makeup. And that's what I'm always, so I'm always on that side of the coin, but I do not debate names. Okay. I don't debate what you call something, because there are many ways to source. All right. If source created everything, then everything is about source. So why do we discuss the differences? Right? Whatever gets you there. We talking about cars, right? I got a GMC, you got a Tesla, you got a Ford. They all do the same thing. But that's just me. I don't even understand the concept of buying a new car and financing a new car when it depreciates driving off the lot, and your finance puts you immediately upside down in the payment of the car, but nothing is new about the car. It still has four wheels, an engine, and it moves you from point A to B. Any car that works good will do that. But we have been convinced that we need to buy new cars because the seats are heated, which freaks me out every time. I don't like that. I just don't. Just call me. I say I have a phobia against that. I do not like my seats warming up. Maybe some people do. I'm like, what's going on here? Oh, hell no, turn that off. I just don't like it. All right. But hey, if that's what gets you to point A to B, a warm seat, knock yourself out. I just don't understand it, and that's not something that I go into. I have a very reliable vehicle, knock on wood, and I'm happy with it. I don't see the other day, and I know this person, probably a lot of people follow me secretly. And let me tell you this, right? Someone sent me something while I was working on this. I was working on this talk today. Someone sent me some teachings on Gnostics, something about the secret words of Gnosticism. If you're familiar with Gnosticism is a parallel track of Christianity that talk more about mysticism. Gnostic is a parallel track that talks about, it's like Christianity, but it talks more about the mysticism part of Christianity. And a lot of the teaching of Gnosticism was removed from the Christian Bible. So they sent me this on that. And as I was talking, getting prepared for this talk about the mystical power of the book of Psalms, they sent me that. And so it was just confirmation, alignment with source, that I'm on the right track. I should be talking about this because they sent me some more secrets about, the secret words, secret spellings, and things like that. And it just came to me in a download. You're going to do, let's just say it like this. Whatever's for me, source is going to give me. And if you think you're going to not be a part of that, source will use you to deliver to me what I need. So a lot of times, people don't understand that sometimes source is working through you to give someone what they need. And even though you may think that you're not doing it or you're working against it, that's why I say everything works in alignment. It's going to still, whatever's meant for me, or even you, when you trust in alignment with God, with source, it's going to still make its way to you. And it's probably going to make it through the person who don't want to do it for you. So you have to understand that. You really have to understand that. We're doing our little psychic practice in the morning to warm up so that we're open to receiving knowledge, wisdom, intuition, discernment. Wake up, conscious collective. So I was saying that a lot of people watch me secretly. They check me out. I don't know what that's about. It's just something about our culture that we can't give people their flowers. Um, but I said because I was invited. I hope this person is not on here now. Well, I can just say this. I was invited to a birthday party, and it made me realize, or maybe I thought about that. I'm not as I'm not coming off as committed as I truly am to what I'm doing here. I'm true to this. Maybe because I say it in a humorous manner, or I try to be light about it. Let's move to our second practice. How did you guys do? How did you guys do? But if you know me, if you've been following me, you know that part of my conspiracy framework is that I believe birthdays are evil. We got 3 numbers here. We're going to put them in no particular order. I'm going to take my trusty Palo Santos and I'm going to put it on a number, and you just think of what number I'm putting it on. You don't have to write it down. That's love. That is love. That is love. I love it when people want to see you win. Don't you guys love that? Don't you love it when people want to see you win? I mean, it's you should believe in yourself enough, but it's just something about our social contract, our social makeup. When people want to see you win, thank you, Nicole. Thank you. They want to see you succeed. It just does something for you. I want to see you guys succeed. I really do. I really do. I really want to see. I want to share something with you today, some power with you today that they don't want you to have, because it's going to make a winner out of you. As I say often, winning. I'm even winning when you think I'm losing. I'm where I'm supposed to be. So where are we placing this at? Just keep note in your head. Divine Rising. We're going to be talking today about how to unlock the mystical power of the book of Psalms. If you're not up on Psalms, I feel sorry for you. Because those that know, they know. It's funny that this guy I'm looking at on TV is talking about all the pastors and ministers who are swindling people, taking them for their money and tithes and offering. And he's making a statement that how can they believe that? How can they believe that? It's not rare anymore. I want to see you win. No sheeple. I want to see you win. We want to see you win. You're in a place where we support each other. No matter how remote, how far away we are at each other, we are still sending that energy and love to each other. That is a must. But this guy is talking about how people in churches are so naive that they can fall prey to con men and con artists. And he's a minister. And he just doesn't put the two together. If you can convince people that a talking snake convinced a woman to eat an apple that caused all the sin in the world, you can convince people of anything. If I can tell you a lie and you believe that, yeah, I'm gonna tell you another lie. He is befuddled, and he doesn't understand how people who are Christians can believe these con men and artists and con artists, but the whole premise is the lie, the misunderstand. So you're telling these people should have that discernment to know that a billion people, everything on the planet can fit inside of a boat during a flood. People should have that discernment. Oh, that's true. And then if I tell them, well, God said, give me all your money. Oh, no, that's not true. They are already fools. A fool and his money will soon be departed. They're already fools for the first part. If they believe the first part, they're going to believe the second part. And he's befuddled to how people can believe anything. You're dealing with a group of people that already believe the incredible, the mysterious, the unreasonable. It's just amazing how people could be so indignant. Like, oh, how do y'all believe these con men? The whole thing you're teaching is a con. Am I right, FX? If I can tell you one and you shaking your head, and then of course I can tell you the next one, you're like, okay, that sounds good too. Because the first part was so. The Bible or spiritual teachings or any kind of enlightened teachings are used as examples. They're used as parables. They're used as instructions. Once you start to get people to believe something that is physically incapable in their reality, then you have them. You can tell them anything. So don't act like you don't understand. You would think on that boat, that Noah would say, okay, you roaches, bed bugs, we're gonna end that right now. We're gonna, that's done. Okay, everybody on the boat, you hold up, Roach. Hold up, Miss Roach. Hold up. We're gonna put an end to this right now. You know, like they said. They said, I mean, if you think about it, I hate repeating it because it's so brutal, but it said God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son and then had his son crucified. And somebody said, why didn't he just kill the devil? Why didn't he just kill the devil? It's just, please just look at at spiritual teachings as a way to guide you, as a way to instruct you. Don't throw the bathwater out with the baby, or don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But don't be so indignant that you see people, like I saw this one minister having people eat grass because he said God said go eat grass. And then people look at them like they are so naive, but yet you do the same thing in your own belief. You don't have any critical thinking to your understanding, and then you're indignant because someone else is doing something that you say, oh, I would never do. But then you do something like that because you believe the same garbage. So we're going to try to bring a little understanding. And I thought I would never be in this place, but we're going to try to bring a little understanding. Like what we're doing now. We're trying to work on our psychic abilities and our psychic gifts. I don't know, I'm just doing stuff. And we will have people condemn us and say that we're going to hell. And then you look right through their books and you see the same divination, the same type of psychic. You see people going to psychics in the book. You see it all in the book that they say that is hell. It doesn't make any sense. When we talk about crystals, you see all the golden plates of crystals on the priests of the children of Israel. Come on, man. Just please do not do that. I am not trying to condemn spiritual teaching. I am bringing attention to religious corruption. That was on one. They don't want us to be great. They don't want you to be great. They keep trying to convince you that God is outside of you. And I just said, that's like saying, God created things, but it's not a part of that. Even in our own thinking, if I make something, my making of it makes me a part of it. So today we're going to be talking about how to unlock the mystical power of the book of Psalms. I tried to share with the collective that do not debate your spiritual gifts, that they are not magic or they're not quantum science, that you're getting caught up in semantics, but understand that these things are available to you. You are more than just this physical vessel. Science already has demonstrated that we are energetic beings. We knew that long time ago. We called it, we are spirits and souls. It's just different names. So I really want to get into this topic, but we have one more practice that we need to do. Let me see. Read my mind. I have a group of cards here. You guys are working with me. We have one. I think one was right about the hat that I wear today. Just a way of bringing what we do into the real world. Because I know if you've been really working on this, your intuition has really sharpened. Stop side-eyeing people. Now that you have this gift, use it with love and light, and not use it to condemn people and to scare them. Use it only in love and light. I guess you could use it in negative ways. The gifts are available for all that want it. It's too bad that a lot of negative people understand it better than good people. A lot of negative people really understand the power of these abilities, where you even have the government. Someone mentioned yesterday about the government actually investigating it, psychic abilities. So why should we not reclaim the right side of it? I'm going to use this one. The light side of it. I don't want to use that one either. I don't want to use that one. Greetings. You're right on time. Today we're going to be talking about how to unlock the mystical power of the book of Psalms. Some may not be ready for this talk. They want to believe in God, but they don't want to believe in the power of God, which is crazy work there. How are you going to believe in something supernatural and to deny the supernatural part of it? Can someone explain that to me? How are you going to believe in something supernatural but deny the supernatural part of it? I'm looking at a shape, a color, and a number. It's been storming here in Georgia, and I tell you, I get the best sleep. Man, I get the best sleep when it's storming. I mean, when that lightning is flashing and that rain is hailing, I just love that stuff. I love that stuff. This is a soulmate, is the word. Kind of pinkish. It's like two cross hearts. Make it make sense. I'm trying. Believe me, I'm trying my best to make it make sense. But a lot of people are gonna run. When I tell them, if you look at the Bible and you're looking at all these stories and things like that, then you come across Psalms. And you're like, what the hell is this? And they tell you, oh, those are just poems. Those are just poems and prayers. That's all they are. No one talks about Psalms, right? Those are just poems and prayers. And you're like, that's just a crazy way just to throw that in there. You just threw that in there, huh? It just came out of nowhere. All right. We're looking at historical texts about the people in the Bible and their liturgy and their lessons and things that they learned and how they had an interaction with each other and with God. And all of a sudden you see the book of Psalms just thrown in there. And they say, oh, don't worry about that. Well, traditionally, those that know, those that understand that the Bible is not only parables and guidance, it is also a spell book. The Bible is also a spell book. I'm looking at a book. Ooh, wow. A number. This is alignment. I don't know if y'all know. I'm like, wow. Okay, let me just share this card. So I'm talking about knowledge, and so this comes up. It's knowledge is the word, and it's an open book. This for me. If I trail off, please show me some grace, because I see it. I see it. I feel it. And if I trail off somewhere and have my own conversations, right, then just show me that grace, please. You just play among yourselves. Play among yourselves. White and black book. But just as I was talking about it, it came up, knowledge. And that's what I'm talking about today, knowledge. Hidden knowledge. Let them that have ears hear. I'm looking at a color, a symbol, and a word. We're reading my mind. Please note to yourself in your notes right next to your journal, because I know you're getting up every morning and you're journaling and you're examining yourself and you're self-reflecting and you're getting deeper understandings about yourself. You're not outside looking for someone to save you. You're trying to save yourself. You have accepted that you are Christ consciousness and that you are returning. You're becoming more of your true self. It is candle and gratitude. Did I finish my story about why I thought birthdays were evil and why if someone invites me to a birthday party, I really don't understand, because maybe they think that I'm just saying this stuff online? Well, birthdays are a way that the powers and principalities rush you through your life journey. First, they encourage you to celebrate and be older and to actually, move faster than you normally would move because you're trying to be older. And then once you get to a certain age, everyone they remind you of that age to keep you moving faster through it. So you're moving faster through this framework, this plane, right? So that you can be recycled again and not learn the lessons you're meant to learn. That's why it takes so long for us to learn the lesson and for us to evolve, because we're being recycled too fast. We're being rushed through the process. We're being rushed through the process. Okay. Even to the point, it's a death countdown. It is a death countdown. Even to the point of the ritual of blowing out the candles. Stick with me now. All right. You are the light. of this world. All right. Symbolically, spiritually, blowing out the candle is extinguishing your light. I'm just sharing it. Do what you do what you will. I'm just sharing it. I'm looking at this. Did anyone see any triangles? There's a lot of rituals that you participate in that you don't know are rituals. I'm just doing it, right? And I was like that. And then I started thinking about, why am I doing this? Like when you're baptized, you're already born through water. You're born into this plane of existence. You portal here through water, through your mother's womb. We all come through water. When you rebaptize yourself in water, you're breaking that connection to source. Remember, your intention is the most powerful thing in the universe. And so when you intentionally break your connection to source, that's why you don't find many people in religions are not that spiritual. They follow doctrine, they follow the rules, but they're not spiritual. They're not spiritual. When you're spiritual, you do things because there's the right thing to do. You don't do it for under threat and under reward. You don't worry about a punishment, and you don't worry about a reward of heaven. You do things because it's the right thing to do. But if I can break your connection to that knowledge, to that self-truth, through this ritual of baptism, of the eating of flesh and the drinking of blood. Come on, man. You put 2 and 2 together. I'm not talking to you guys because you guys get it. I'm looking at this. Will be our last one. We're going to move into our talk. This is your flesh. I eat of your flesh. That's cannibalism. That's symbolically cannibalism. I drink of your blood to remember you. That's cannibalism. Spiritual cannibalism. It puts holes in your spiritual understanding. The reason that we don't participate in cannibalism in the physical plane materially, right, is because cannibalism releases, when you eat another person, you release that pathogens from that person actually infects you and causes holes in your brain. That's the real physical part of it. When you do it symbolically, you're causing holes in your spirit. Not hoes, but holes. Everything has a meaning. Okay, this is our last one. It was arrows. We're looking at our friendship and 17. All right. Those that came in earlier saw a video of a psalm, and that psalm was titled How to Stop False Accusations. We will be sharing more videos. I will be sharing more psalms because I got a download on giving the collective the tools that they need to navigate this plane of existence and to give them understanding on spiritual gifts. So as we talk about this, let me bring this up because I want to have a visual as we talk about this. I really need to learn how to do this sharply. So we're going to be talking about the mystical use of Psalms, how they're spiritual formulas and incarnations. Get the visual right. Okay. I don't know. I like the blown up version of me, but I needed a visual because, people flipping through the channel coming across the visual may give them a moment of alignment. All right. So we're going to be talking about Psalms, how Psalms were thrown in there and how we are missing the tools that we need to have some control in our lives. As the world seems to be out of control, we need the tools that are going to give us some control, that are going to reinforce our understanding of our divinity and our ability as light workers, as starseeds. You are not helpless. You are not subject to the whim of just anything and everybody. You are one of the most powerful. You are part of the most powerful. Let's say it like that. You are a part of the most powerful, the only powerful thing in existence, and that is Source. You are just, if Source is an ocean and your vessel is glass and you dip that water into the ocean and you put it there, you are still ocean. You are still part of that. That is in you. The glass is just your body. It may be a dark glass. It may be a light glass. It may be a shapely glass. It may be a round glass, whatever. It's just a temporary form. Okay. But you are still that I am of the great I am. You understand that? Our root chakra is the affirmation I am. So we are part of the I am of the great I am. So you still have access to that ability, those gifts, those things that we do not understand. You cannot know Source, but you can experience it. We don't understand it, but we can still tap into it. So I want to explain to you that just like if you're reading a spiritual teaching, whether it be the Quran or the Bible or any type of Gnostic teachings or Taoism, right? They are lessons for understanding, for guidance, for direction on how to navigate our lessons here on Earth plane. And so when we look at different texts, we come across certain texts that don't seem to kind of fit in with these lessons, that don't make any kind of sense, right? And then when we delve deeper into that, we find that maybe there's something else, another tool that we can use to become more of our true higher version of ourselves. So I used to speak about energy and being in that energy and being in that higher vibration. But we're going to have to let them know that we're going to have to let them know. We're going to have to let them know. We're going to have to let them know. And so we're going to let them know by being able to tap into other abilities and gifts. And so the book of Psalms is one of those things. We understand that spelling, right, actually is identical to the word spell. Is that a coincidence? Well, as conspiracy beings, we don't believe in coincidence. Why are those two words the same? In the beginning was the word. Wow. Maybe it was put right there in the beginning. Maybe the answer was put right there in the beginning. In the beginning was the word. That's interesting. Because words are a sound and they're a frequency, a vibration, of energy. So we're going to get into it. And I'm going to be sharing it on my long form side And I want you guys to just play those videos and recite and let them play, because that has an effect. Repetition has an effect of what you're trying to accomplish. If you can focus on something, it is said that if you can focus on something for 5 minutes and just focus on that thing for 5 minutes, if the universe actually will cause it to be. See, this is why you have such a short attention span. This is why they want you to keep constantly have information and keep scrolling and keep doing things, because they understand that your intention, and they've proven this scientifically, you change the course of something by you observing it. They did the slit experiment. You will also often hear me repeat this. They noticed that light particles went through this slit, and when no one observed it, it just went through the slit. But when someone observed it, just looked at it, it bounced off onto other parts of it. So your attention, I don't want to miss you guys' comments, but your intention is something that is very, very dangerous. So we need to shorten your attention and keep you focused, along with keeping you stressed out and in your lower survival mode. So I know you have heard of the Book of Psalms. They're often seen as poetry and prayer, but are real spiritual formulas, and incantation texts that appears in many spiritual and folk traditions. Have you guys come across the Book of Psalms and you've heard it as folk tradition that people use them as spells? Those that know. There was also the Book of Solomon, sometimes called the Wisdom of Solomon, that described mystical knowledge, angels, and the control of spirits. Solomon had 10 rings that had incarnations on them, and he was able to control jinn, Jin, is, which comes the word genies, but jinns are just spirits, other beings, and he was able to control them. They removed the Book of Solomon. Now, my question is, when you're reading the Bible and you ask where the Bible originated from, where are these stories coming from, and they tell you, oh, they're originating in the Middle East and Israel, and sometimes in Africa, and maybe Egypt, and you say, well, why they name Paul? Why they name David? Those are not traditionally those countries. That's not the names in those countries. What's going on here? They don't have an answer for that. They don't have an answer for that. And then when you turn around and you say, are all these the books of the Bible? Are all the books of the Bible? Is this the complete work of God? You cannot put God in a book. You may be able to explain my life in a book. You may be able to write my life story in a book, but you cannot contain God in a book. Let's just get that out of the way. Let's get that out of the way. But you ask, are all these books, the books that you say were inspired by God? And they're like, well, we had to take a few out. Wait, what? Yeah, we had to remove a few. Why? You didn't want the book to be too thick? You would have your editor limit you to the number of pages? Why did you take some of these books out of the Bible? Well, we didn't think people needed to know that stuff. You guys are really what you're talking about. He said the book would be too heavy to carry. We didn't want the book too heavy. We didn't want the book to be too heavy. And so the truth of the matter is there were some books they preferred you not to know. You know, there was a slave Bible. Are you guys aware there was a slave Bible? There was a Bible given to African American slaves, and that's the one they let Black people read. Because there were some things they did not want to share with people in slavery. They only shared the part about obeying your master and being a good. We know the rest of that. So there was a slave Bible that they first gave Black people. So we're going to examine some of the books, the hidden knowledge. And it's hidden knowledge because this stuff will give you power. This stuff, I'm going to show you how you get power. I mean, I sometimes I talk real abstract and people are like, get to it, Baba. And I kind of think big picture. And I want to really bring it down to day to day. I want to bring it down to your job. I want to bring it down to when you are having a problem with a relationship. I want to bring it down to how to handle your taxes. Because it's real. And I want to bring it down to that level. And I think that's the part that I've really been missing, because I'm always talking about the abstract and the difficult part of the work and stuff like that. But I think people want to know, what can I do in my day-to-day life? Yeah, I'm working on myself, Baba. I'm healing myself and I'm raising my vibration. I'm trying to be a better person, but I'm gonna need a tool or something to work with. And these are just tools. These are just tools. So if you just came in, thank you for joining us. We're talking about unlocking the mystical power of the Book of Psalms. Someone's going to eventually say that Jesus is Lord, and then they're going to get blocked. This is the only thing I am very cautious about, because people want to go into areas that are distractions from the real understanding of what you need to know. Welcome, knowledge, wisdom, and truth. There you go. I saw that. They're going to go to. Let me go. I want to start this one first. They eventually going to go to Jesus Saves, and they just okay. Mic drop. They don't want to go any deeper. They don't want any more understanding. All right. They come into here and they say Jesus saves, and walk away like, I told you everything you need to know. I told you everything you need to know. I'm like, can I get a little more meat on that bone? Can I get a little bit more understanding? I have this mind that was given to me by source that is curious, that wants me to expand it, to seek it out, to know it, or at least try to know it. I hate using the word know it. Let's say to experience it. Let's make a correction. To experience it. Because we may never know it, but to experience it. So we're going to be talking about some. You guys don't understand Trump. Trump is an old power. He's a very old power. You just don't understand it. You don't understand Trump, but I ain't mad at him. We said earlier in our discussion, everything works for the good. You're going to give me what I need, whether you want to or not. Everything is working in alignment, because this is forcing us to be more of our true self, to find more understanding. The more something is hidden, the more something is denied, the more human nature seeks it out. I always like to talk about modesty, right? Because I think people miss the point of modesty. Modesty is a biological condition. Whenever I'm talking about something, I want you to understand one thing. Birds are going to still fly and fish are going to still swim. Birds are going to still fly and fish are going to still swim. That's just nature. That's what nature is. And so when we as beings try to counter nature, to act against nature, we get into some very destructive areas. And one of those is that men by nature desire things that they cannot get readily, that is hidden from them, that is kept from them. They will bring any wealth or tool to get that item. That's just nature. Men, if women wore gloves, the most attractive thing, the most desirable things on women would be their hands. Because it is the nature of a man to have something, to want something that is denied him. And so when you create an environment where that motivation is satisfied in every shape and form, you have a breakdown of the relationship between those two parties. This is not about controlling anyone. It is about nature. My answers are, whenever I have an answer, I look to nature. Because I know that's how the divine operates and speaks and communicates, is through nature if you observe it. I don't need the word from something I can look in the lessons of nature. That birds are going to fly and fish are going to swim. And when you deny somebody something, especially when you come to the masculine energy, it wants it more. It will do anything for that. I'm going to have to agree with that. I don't know if you're asking or you're making a statement, but it's just the nature of particularly of men in this instance. Let's just use it as this example. That when you operate in modesty, and this is what this is not about, but when you operate in modesty, you operate in denial. Look, diamonds are, I said yesterday, diamonds are valuable because there's a false scarcity to it. People say diamonds are not, they're not a lot of diamonds. We know there's millions and millions of diamonds. They just keep hidden away. But when you add a scarcity to something, in our thinking, it becomes valuable. It's that simple. And when you have someone who is operating in, and not just in an individual, it has to be a collective thing when people are operating in terms of modesty and that deniable. One of the motivating factors in the Black freedom movement is, well, you're not going to tell us what we cannot have. Someone made a joke. If they would have told people that they couldn't have the shots, the COVID shot, people have been fighting tooth and nail for it. You're not going to tell us that we cannot get the shot. What's all this about? Greetings, greetings, greetings. Am I back? Can you guys? Yes, I am fine. Am I back online? We were cooking for a minute there. Please let me know that you guys are still receiving me. There was my modem had to reset. Okay, great, great, great. Let me bring back up my image that I was working with. Hold on. Maybe it was this one. No. I don't know how this going to look on the replay. It may not get up there, but let me see. All right. My modem, because my lights were flashing, I knew the modem was going to reset. That's what it did. But it brought me back into the stream. And so I think, oh, my notes are still here. Good. Then I'll just have to skip this part and continue. So what were we talking about? We were talking about modesty. And we were talking about it, to me, is not a way of control. It is a system in which has been designed so there is a equal transaction of resources. Men are just naturally stronger than women. And in this plane of reality, strength matters, right? You have to fight off bears, you have to build houses, blah, 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 right? And you had a group that is not as endowed in that sense of having that strength. But they were endowed with another gift that almost superseded the first gift. In some places, is more important than being strong. Those that know. All right? People will go to war over that gift that women have. Okay? If that gift is given away freely and openly and just thrown out there, there is no incentive. I'm going to leave it alone. I don't want to make no enemies. But as my grandma used to say, why buy the cow if the milk is free? And don't say nothing bad about my grandma. You can come for me. Don't come for my grandma. I'm not playing. So we're talking about, that was a little side note. We're actually talking about the book of Psalms. That some people believe that they are spiritual formulas. That the words are spellings, hence the word spelling. The words in Psalms are spells that can be used for protection, healing, justice, prosperity, and spiritual authority. Did you guys know that? Just like the Bible has guidance, it doesn't matter if somebody held the sun in place for the day. That is physically impossible in our plane of reality because we know that the earth revolves around the sun. But what is the lesson there? What is the message there? I don't know. God will give you time, I guess. I don't know. But when we look at Psalms, maybe there are things that we can use in our own life journey. What some people call supernatural, some people call magic. Now we're using the term quantum mechanics. Where in the beginning was the word, was the vibration, was the sound that created everything. Scientists call it the Big Bang. Psalms are understood as vibrational or sacred languages. They have to be repeated openly. Write down in your notes. You have to say them openly. That's how they have their power. One way they become powerful. Thank you for everyone that checked in on me. Somebody says, am I okay? I'm always in alignment. Yes, I am always in alignment. Thank you for checking on me. If I lose my life, I trust source. I'm true to this. I'm not new to this. For some reason, I keep ringing in my head. The Psalms, the verses in Psalms are believed to carry spiritual authority because they were traditionally attributed to King David. Now, King David, if you ain't read your Bible, you need to read up on King David. King David was a hell of a man. If you ain't read about King David was a hell of a man. And no matter what King David did, it is quoted in the Bible that he was a man after God's own heart. God loved him some King David. You guys know the story of Job. Some guy was telling me, I think this is a movie I was watching. They were saying Job, God took everything away from Job. He unalived Job's children, took away Job's sheep, his houses, took everything away from Job. And people said, why he do that to Job? And someone said, something about Job just pisses God off. Something about Job that just pisses God off. I've talked to somebody, a few people who are highly favored, but they are so traumatized, they don't realize that there is some degree to connection to divine source or those energies or beings that make you, that always seems to work out for you, that always seems to be in your favor. Reciting Psalms, and there's another part this I'm gonna bring in later, but reciting Psalms is seen as activating divine intent through sound and focused belief. The Psalms become not just prayers, but spoken formulas used to influence spiritual conditions. We talk often how everything is mirror. There is no physical without no spiritual, and the spiritual is manifested in the material. They work in hand. There's balance in there. If you're having a problem on the marital, on the physical plane, you can address it on the spiritual plane, and sometimes that works more powerful. A lot of times, the physical plane doesn't have that much influence on the spiritual plane, except disconnecting you from it. This idea that Psalms, there's something special about Psalms. They have some that they are sacred in some way, and they are believed to hide energetic or spiritual potency. You know, in some traditions, you cannot say the name of God. The actual name of God is not allowed to be spoken. Let's look at the Jewish mystical traditions when we try to understand Psalms. One of the oldest traditions linking Psalms with mystical practitioner comes from Jewish folk tradition. There's a Jewish text that is translated as the magical use of the Psalms. This describes specific Psalms used for specific outcomes such as protection, healing, or success. Now, these Psalms are often paired with ritual instructions. If we want to go into those ritual instructions, please reach out to me. Let me know what you want to work with, and we'll go with those instructions that are often paired with using the Psalms. While you're thinking about that, give this video a thumbs up, a like, subscribe if you're not subscribed. We talk about a lot of things that may help you in your journey. You didn't come across this video by accident. And even though we were shut down, you can't stop us. Let's give some examples. Psalms 23 is often used for protection and guidance. I'm not going into the Psalms, but that Psalm 23 is often used for protection and guidance. You can look it up. Psalm 91 is for spiritual protection. You guys have to understand, you are dealing with powers and principalities beyond the physical. I wish it was just physical, but you are under spiritual attack too. Just in general, things are just done ritualized just to keep you pressed, to keep things not working out for you, to keep things, in a state of confusion in your life. You need to be operating always under spiritual protection. I don't know, Shirley just came back in. Hi ho. I don't know what that means. If it's just spiritual vampires, sometimes you have family and friends who are just energetically vampires. They just drain your energy. You need to always have a light shield protecting you. And I've worked with people how to develop that, how to bring that light out of your heart chakra and keep you covered and protected. I'm so covered and protected, I take way too many chances. Because I just know how covered and protected I am. I should stop that. Psalms 121 is for your safe travels. So we often understand Psalms from an African American hoodoo perspective. Do not get hoodoo confused with voodoo. Hoodoo is folk magic, earth magic. Voodoo is a religious tradition. It's a religion. Okay? Those are two different things. A lot of times you look at these movies and they're just mixing everything up together. Okay? But Psalms is often used in African American hoodoo. They're used as spiritual tools. Historically, enslaved Africans blended biblical teachings, African spiritual traditions. Do you know in African spiritual tradition, there was no figure of God? There was no idol or imagery of God. God was understood as being everything in African traditions. We only learned about the face of God when we were introduced to religious tradition. And of course, that face often represented the people in power. You ever wonder why that works together like that? That's powerful. You practice hoodoo. We're talking about folk magic practices and indigenous American knowledge. We're going back to a time and period where traditional, or what you call primitive, knowledge is going to be very prominent. As the 3D starts to collapse and the world ends, as the new world begins, we're going to go back to our traditional way of maneuvering in the world. There was a lot of medicine known to people beyond modern medicine. And maybe modern medicine started out as a good thing, but like most things, they get corrupted in this plane of existence, and now it's about money. It's about making you sick so they can sell you the cure. Traditional medicine, ancient medicine, primitive medicine was a holistic approach to your health. You didn't eat the wrong things, so that you didn't have to be healed from the wrong things. And that's going to come. This has to end. Don't hang on to it. Don't try to keep it because you're going to go with it. This is unsustainable and it's collapsing on itself. This world has exhausted all of its knowledge. Every institution you can think about is failing in some kind of way. So as we move back to folk magic practice, you're going to find that practitioners often recited specific psalms during their spiritual work. Here's a couple examples. Psalms 23, often used for blessing, prosperity, and spiritual guidance. I'm just grateful you're here. I am just grateful you are here. Okay? I'm just grateful you're here. At least you're here. All right? Psalms 35 is used in works involving justice or a protection against enemies. Psalms 51 is used for spiritual cleansing or repentance. I've given people given people who have worked with spiritual cleansing practices. And people take it, but they don't do it. I don't know what that disconnection is. They often tell me that they need help with something, and I give them the practice, and then I check with them. They say they haven't done it. As the guy said, I signed up for a gym membership 10 months ago, and nothing has changed. So I'm going to go down there and see what's going on. I signed up for my gym membership 10 months ago, but I don't see any change. So I'm going to go back down there and see what's going on. Let's talk about how Psalms actually work. The power of repetition and chanting. Please check out the Psalms I will be putting on my long form video and allow them to play. They will be on particular topics or things that I feel like the collective needs healing in. If you guys want these additional tools. In many spiritual traditions, repetition of sacred words is to believe to strengthen intent. See, when you on God level, you can say, and it is. You can say it one time, and it is. That's God level. That's God level. Wherever you speak comes into, because you have that ability on God level. But we are co-creators. We are not God in the sense of God, the creator, the source God. We are co-creators. So we have to repeat things. We have to say them over and over again to show our intent on them. A lot of times we don't get what we want because we don't moved on. Before we even realize that we didn't get what we want, we on to something else. In many spiritual traditions, repetition of sacred words is to believe to strengthen that intent. You see this across many cultures in mantras. When people are doing mantras, can't see my hands. They're repeating a phrase. I don't know what this word is. In dhikr, dhikr. In Islam mysticism, they repeat the phrase. Even in Gregorian chants in Christianity, they repeat that phrase over and over again. This is why when you go to your religious house, they constantly repeat the same thing. It gives it power. When you recite Psalms, you are giving it that power. Repeating Psalms is seen as a way to focus your consciousness and align your intent with divine authority, to be that co-creator. Let's look at Psalms as spiritual protection. Psalms have historically been used as protections, prayers, or charms. One of the most famous is the Psalm 91, sometimes called the Soldier Psalm. Historically, this psalm is often recited during wartime. Sometimes you can write it as a talisman. And used in protection rituals. I have a bag, Nicole, you asked me about the other day. I often write psalms in that bag. You remember the bag you were asking about? I have a bag that I write psalms in. I carry that around with me sometimes as different intentions and protections. The Soldier Psalm. This particular psalm offers protection from the unseen dangers, which contributes to his reputation in mystical traditions. Sometimes you need to be protected from things you don't know that are after you. You don't know what is going to have to miss you. Well, a Mojo bag will have more items in it. Like, you will have certain things in a Mojo bag. Like you might have something like this in your Mojo bag. This is a prosperity symbol. It's actually an alligator with a fish. It's a symbol of prosperity. So it's not exactly a Mojo bag. It's the way I carry my psalms. Psalms are very powerful when you repeat them or you're listening to them and you're reciting them. But sometimes you can write them down on talisman. In some traditions, psalms are not only spoken, but written and carried. They can be written. This is where they get the written word of God. It's not the written word of God, but sometimes writing stuff can be very powerful because you're still spelling. Some of these practices have included writing psalms on paper and placing it in a pouch, something I'm guilty of. You got me. You guys got me. Baba practicing what he preached. You got me. I'm guilty of it. Sometimes you can write these verses and you can place them near doorways for protection. Doorways are portal, not only in the physical. You ever notice a doorway allows you to enter another space? Remember I told you everything's a mirror of the spiritual world? So doorways in the physical world are portals to another space. They're also spiritual portals to other dimensions and times. Carrying psalms in a pocket or amulet. You see a lot of this in Jewish folk tradition, in Christian folk magic, and in hoodoo. But we're going to talk about the voice and intention element of psalms. I said earlier that in the beginning was the word. We missed the whole, we missed the narrative in the beginning. In the beginning, we missed the whole point in the beginning. In the beginning was the word. Right there, laid it out. It laid it out. We missed that part already, trying to get to the good part. Those work good too, but I think this is going to be a lot easier for people to do. I have a broom too. People go looking for a broom, forget they're looking for the broom. Speaking psalms combines your breath, the sound, the meaning, and the intent. By doing this in unison, You are directing your spiritual energy towards that desired outcome. I used to say this modern mantra. I guess it comes from Biggie Small, or who said it? My mind on my money on my mind. Do you guys know who said that mantra? Mantras are just repeated phrases, and I used to like that one. I got my mind on my money on my mind. I don't know who actually said that one. Let's get to the meat of it, what we're always looking for. The prosperity and blessing Psalms. This is what a lot of us focus on because we assume prosperity and abundance will solve our problems. If you haven't done the work on yourself, I don't care how rich you are going to be a miserable person. We see rich people that are very miserable people, and they make other people miserable because that is not going to solve the problem. Certain Psalms are commonly associated with abundance or favor. We like to say, God, show me your favor, God. Show me your favor. Look, let me explain something to you. God or divine source is an energy. It's a consciousness. It's a force we don't fully understand. And it can be used and directed, just like the wind can be used to be powered, windmills, or to maybe blow leaves out your yard. These are forces. I'm not saying that it is a unconscious force. I'm saying that it is a force that can be tapped into. There's a negative aspect of it that can be used, and there is a positive aspect of that can be used. And sometimes it's all the same to that force because everything works in alignment with that force. Snoop Dogg, okay, maybe. I know some of us like to think that we are special and that bad people will be punished for mistreating us. But sometimes they are not mistreating you. Everything is working in alignment for your good. So it doesn't use you as that barometer of how the force works. What you can do is tap into it and direct it, just as you can use sunlight to power solar panels. Think of it in terms of it's like fire. Fire can be used to warm your house, but fire can also be used to burn you down. It's all how your intent of it is. So when you look at certain Psalms for abundance or favor, you want to look at Psalms 23. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. That is a very powerful Psalm. I'm only giving you the beginning of it. You know the rest of it, or you can look up the rest of it, right? Psalms 112 describes prosperity, wealth, and righteousness. Psalm 65 is associated with harvest and abundance. To transmute an energy is to change it and alchemize it. I think the word that we want to use is I don't want to say I'm going to have to think about when you transmute something, you're alchemizing and you're changing it. What we want to do is become the channel of it. We want to transmit the energy. So I think transmit maybe a better word. We want to transmit it. But I mean, unless you mean, it's hard to kind of decipher the meaning, unless you mean transmute that energy for your benefit. I think I can understand that. So, as my grandmother used to say, and I'm going to talk about my grandmother all the time. I don't know about y'all, but I had a powerful grandmother. It would be impossible for me to believe it would be impossible for me to believe that my grandmother, who lived a difficult life but never was a church goer, never accepted Jesus, would be placed in hell. That the only condition for her was the acceptance of some false religious belief. Not that she was a good person, not that she loved and raised her brothers and her grandchildren and raised me, right? That the only condition, that don't matter. That does not matter. The only condition was her accepting something else as her Lord and personal Savior. That she is burning in hell because she didn't do that. That doesn't make any sense. So that tells me no matter how terrible a person you are, how much you hurt another being, how much you hurt another person, as long as you accept this at the last minute, then you get to be rewarded. Come on, man. Come on, man. Think about it. That the people who hurt people, the people who enslaved people, the people who mistreated people, because they accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior, they're in heaven and you're in hell. Come on, man. I said that to say, as my grandmother used to say, if you don't believe it, try the trick. If you don't believe it, try the trick. So I am challenging you guys to align yourself with prosperity and blessings through Psalms. What does it hurt if you try it? Try Psalms 23. Try Psalms 112 and try Psalm 65. I'm trying to share with you some of the tools that would align you to living your best life, if that is what is important to you. I suggest other things take some priority in raising your vibration, clearing your trauma, giving yourself space and grace. But if you are pressed as we move into some difficult times in 3D Earth and you have not worked yourself up to the space of being in 5D and you are operating in 3D and you still feel pressed and you still feel like you're struggling, you can tap into some of this earth magic, this spiritual, these spiritual tools to try them in your own life. Oh, thank you. What does it hurt you if you try it? What hurts if you try Psalm 23? Repeating that psalm, writing it down, keeping it with you, or Psalms 112. What does that hurt? If you're taking that initiative. Those that know. Don't be the person that gets the gym membership or buy the gym equipment and then lay your clothes on it or never go to the gym. You're too busy to go to the gym. It doesn't work if you don't work it. It just doesn't work if you don't work it. So write Psalm 65 down and see if things do not move in your prosperity and abundance. Don't just try it one time. Put it in your heart. Write it down. Carry it with you, right? And see if things don't start to move. And I'm going to continue to share this because I really think that a lot of us are going to have to see it to believe it. A lot of us are going to have to see it to believe it. Well, as always, I am totally grateful for allowing you to share my perspective. I hope this has resonated with you in some way in your journey as we unlock the mystical power of the Book of Psalms. I want to talk about more about this. I gave a background on it. I'm going to be doing videos on the long form of it. And I think that it's something that's going to aid people in actually being able to operate in a degree of safety and security. A lot of times we read things and we don't get the lessons from them, right? We miss the point. These are tools that are good in helping you, navigate this plane. But it only works with your intention. It only works with your energy. So you have to know that you know. But again, I'm grateful for you guys allowing me to share this with you. Please thumbs up this video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, right? The channel is really growing. I really am thankful for the Conscious Collective. This information ain't for everyone, but those that know. Those that know, all right? Those that are here and trying to expand are going to benefit from this as we move from 3D through 4D to 5D reality. So I truly appreciate you guys allowing me to share that perspective with you. I think I'm going to talk about Psalms for a while. Then we may move into the Book of Solomon. I want to give you things they don't want you to have because they are content with you being in the state that you are. But I want you to have love, life, and happiness. All the links will be in the description. If you need to check in with me on certain things, I'm always available. I'll be working with these Psalms for a while. So we're going to see what else we can bring out of this knowledge, okay? Love and light. I truly appreciate you. All right. So let me say in closing, I want to wish you love, light, health, and wealth. Make sure I get all that in. You guys have a great day. Thank you.